Town are up and running at home after a come-from-behind 2-1 success against Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday afternoon, where the Tom Krauss Appreciation Society opened its doors. Honorary members of the society are myself, the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe, and a very, very special guest who we'll reveal right after this intro.
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the longest running Luton Town podcast, sponsored by Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned before the intro, we have a very, very special guest with us for this episode, and Jimbo, I suppose it's only right that we give him the intro that he's become accustomed to.
I'll do my very best, Kev. Ladies and gentlemen, in our guest seat for tonight's podcast, we welcome the champion of England, Linus Udofia!
Yes, indeed, the English middleweight champion, Linus Udofia, is in the house. Linus, congratulations, mate. Obviously, last Saturday was the fight. Stoppage win, as we predicted, a little bit later than what we predicted on the podcast, but you got the job done and you brought the belt in to see us as well, and looks fantastic, mate.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I to be fair, I predicted it in the round. I knocked him down the first time, and fair play to him. Fair play to him. He had a lot of balls, man. He just kept going. He really wanted it, but yeah, no, I just wanted it a bit more. I just really wanted it a bit more.
Luton are so proud of you, mate. We really are. And yeah, once again, congratulations. And it was a good, a good day last Saturday, wasn't it? Luton won, you won, and we followed it up at home to Sheffield Wednesday. 2 wins on the trot now. Basically, since you come in to see us, we've won both games. So you're obviously a lucky charm for the boys. What did you make of the game against Sheffield Wednesday?
I don't think it was definitely not the best we played. But after the subs really made a difference. And it's good to see the strikers getting on the score sheet as well. And yeah, it just wasn't our best, but let's just hope we can go up from here.
Yeah, sign of a good team. Don't play your best and win games of football. I mean, Jesus though, Jimbo, that was a frustrating after. I should sort of give it a little bit of context. We're recording this on the Saturday night of the game. Normally we don't do that. Normally we leave it 24 hours. Just to calm down a little bit from the emotions of it all, but obviously with the win and everything, that's fine. My throat would be an awful lot better if we waited 24 hours, as Linus has touched on. My voice and the referee had a match that the referee come out on top in, but yeah, not great in terms of certainly the first 45. But we always say about these boys, the character within them, you cannot take that away from them. It looked like they were going absolutely nowhere. We've probably got a helping hand, literally, actually, or shoulder, as it might be. But it's 2 wins on the trot, and no one can really argue with that.
Yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it? I think because it's the Saturday night and I'm still on quite a high from the game, I almost don't want to talk about the first 77 minutes. I know we'll have to, but it was absolutely dreadful. But
well, it won't take long to talk about, though, will it? Because little to nothing happened. It's unbelievable. But before we come fully onto the game, let's just rewind a little bit, because since we recorded the preview for the Sheffield Wednesday episode, Alfie Doughty signed a new long-term contract, and that's great news, Linus.
Yeah, fantastic news. He's such a solid player. You know what? When we went down, I did think about, what are the list of players that may be snapped up and maybe taken away from us. Ross Barkley was definitely top of that list. Alfie Doughty and Elijah were my 3 that I thought, look, might not necessarily go, but would definitely have interest from top clubs. And yeah, I'm really, really happy that we've kept him, because he's a top player.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on seeing sort of the Championship social media accounts saying, like, who's the best left back in the division? We've got the best left back in the division, and we've got him signed on to a long-term contract.
yeah, very welcome news. I'm with Linus. I thought at the beginning of the summer, Doughty's one that's going to go, because his numbers were so good last season. I think it was only the fact that a lot of the squad got injured in January, and he just got ran ragged, didn't he? Played and played and played, that he got knackered at the end of it. We said last season towards that, and maybe that's helped or not. But his words about the club, he said he loves the club, and I think that's evident, really. So I think it's a fantastic signing, and he's going to be here for a decent amount of time, unless he really impresses again, and then he'll go for massive money, and it's going to be win-win. And
It is, yeah, and well, hopefully we have him for a long time. Generally, long-term contracts, when the club put that term in, and you're looking at sort of 3 years and onwards. That was the case with Andros Townsend. So yeah, you got to think that that's the kind of ballpark that we've got him here for. And great to see he was in the team on Saturday. Just the one change from the sort of a win over Millwall. Rue Walters came back in. Amari Bell dropped out. I didn't actually hear Rob's post-match to see if there was anything with Amari Bell, or if he was just rested, or...
I can tell you, he done his hamstring, his other one. So he said it's going to be a few weeks, but we know what a few weeks has turned out to be with hamstring injuries. So that's a really disappointing one, obviously, but it's not like the threadbare situation that we've facing before. So there are defenders.
Yep. So Alfie went back to the left, having played on the right at Millwall. Rue Walters came in, and same formation. Everything else was exactly the same. But Linus, as you've already mentioned, mate, I mean, the first half, we just couldn't get going. And there seems to be this emphasis on control, on keeping the ball, which in itself isn't necessarily the worst idea, but we just don't seem to be able to get it into midfield and get it into forward areas to keep the ball. And when we lose it, the opposition are on us very, very quickly. And we were really indebted to Kaminsky in that first half. He made a brilliant save from Windass. He's got to score, Windass. Let's get it right. Thankfully, he's as useless as his old man was. But, Kaminsky got us out of a hole and managed to get in at 0-0.
Yeah, it's that. I think, like everyone becomes a football manager and things like that. But I'm just gonna, I think that three at the back system's great. The two wing backs doing their thing and that. But it's that midfield. It's that midfield double pivot. That's when we go up, it kind of kills us trying to get back. We just, we kind of left bare all the time, and you see that. And obviously, we're lucky to have Kaminsky. But I don't know. I think maybe something needs to change. I think maybe we just, obviously today we played. What did we play? We played 5-2 and 3, not 3 up top, but
yes,
Clicker right behind Morris and
yeah. So you
I want to say Chongi on the left of him.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They were a little bit deeper, and we couldn't get to them two.
Yeah.
We could get to Marv, we could get to Walsh.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get beyond them. And
I think what worked granted we was in the Premier League and things like that, but what worked was just that three in the middle, just two sitting there, maybe Barkley up top, or not up top, but on the three, just the one in front, maybe Clicker or Barkley. Just it worked so much better because we had cover around the back and we could still create. And I get it, but I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. But it doesn't gel. The playing out the back is, all good, but when there's just no avenue, especially to get to the front men, it just puts us in a lot more trouble than we need.
Yeah, exactly that. It just kept on breaking down. And if Sheffield Wednesday didn't break it down, the referee broke it down. There were some shocking decisions throughout the game. We've been the benefactor of one of them in the second half, I think. Not actually sure on the rule with that. We'll come to that in a minute. But there was one in particular, wasn't there, where Chong made a brilliant tackle on the halfway line. Clearly wins the ball. All day long he wins the ball. And then a foul's given. Chong's, he can't understand it. Alfie's right next to him. He can't understand it. I mean, I don't know if the circus is nearby, but if it is, it's missing a clown.
Yeah, that's the one that kicked it off and sparked the fury, wasn't it? I mean, he was no good before that anyway, but I saw that clearly even before I had the TV replay on the press benches, because Chong was facing us and he nicks the ball it's not even a slide challenge, he just slides for it, but he doesn't touch the player and he gets the ball, gets to Doughty, and Doughty's looking to run on. So it's just baffling how that's a foul, but it was symptomatic of his entire first half, and everything was stop-start because of that. And it affected both teams as well. He was doing it for both teams, but mostly if Luton went long and Elijah was trying to hold the ball up, they had the two centre-backs on him all the time, and not always fairly, but always getting away with it. And then that exacerbated it. And then it kept going on. He kept making bad decisions. You've got to wonder what's going through the referee's mind. it must be normal to be chanted at, but it must be very rare to get a sarcastic 30-second standing ovation from the entire crowd just because you've given Luton a decision, because they weren't getting any, and it was a shocking decision. But on one hand, it sort of lifted the crowd. When you look back on it, it papered over a really, really poor first half performance because Luton didn't have a shot, and were it not for Kaminsky with the point blank block from Windass when he really should have scored, great save, you have to give it to Kaminsky, then it could have been worse. It was really, really bad. It carried on after that as well, up to the goal, and then when the 3 subs were made, which sort of started changing things.
Yeah, really interesting reactions throughout the first half, really. Obviously, no one was liking what they were seeing. I understand that. Cheering when Kaminsky kicks a goal kick long, I'm not sure about that. We mentioned on the last review podcast that we did, they're going to play out from the back. They have their reasons for playing out from the back. I don't necessarily like it myself. I did say it. I don't particularly like it because I like us to get the ball forward quicker than what it means that we can do. There's a lack of midfielder in there to take the ball and everything else. However, they coach on a Monday to Friday to do that. So then to cheer when Kaminsky kicks a goal kick up, and it's not like we're winning the ball when he kicks it up. Elijah lost every single one after that cheering. It's not a slight on Elijah. He's not really, hold-up play's not really his forte, particularly when he's got 2 beefcakes all over him. It just, I'm not sure. I still think we've got to get used to it, whether we like it or we don't like it. I think we've still got to get used to that. But they abandoned it once the cheering started. I kind of hope they didn't abandon it because it got cheered. I'd like Rob Edwards to manage the football team rather than the Kenilworth end, if I'm completely honest. I think he's better at it. No offence to anyone. I see it in the Kenilworth end. Yeah, second half, you're thinking, well, it can't be no worse. Cannot play any worse. And then within 7 minutes, ball's in the back of our net. Alfie tries, to be fair, he tries to take the geezer on down the left-hand side. Gets intercepted. Valerie's away and gone. He puts the ball over. There's only one player in the Sheffield, we highlighted it in the preview, there's only one player in the Sheffield Wednesday side you need to keep tabs on at all times, and it's Barry Bannon. Cross comes over. He has got the whole of the penalty box to himself, and a geezer who's as good as that, he's just not going to miss from 15 yards or whatever it was, buried it in the bottom corner, and we're 1-0 down. You can't really say it was undeserved because we were just terrible at that point.
Yeah, I thought the same. As soon as it kind of, like, I don't want to be pessimistic. I don't want to be one of those fans that drops their heads all the time. But as soon as like that goal went in, I thought that's it. Not that's it, but I just don't see us changing too much to fight back or to make something happen. You know what I mean? It was, look, fair play to Alfie. They tried something, it didn't work out, and as soon as it went in, I just kind of thought it's been one of them days anyway. It's just, you could see it, how the game was going. I just thought, right, here we go.
It felt like that as well. I just went, oof. I mean, I don't usually start writing a report at 52 minutes, but I did because I thought, honestly, this is not going anyway. It's not going in our favour. And I just thought, and also I heard a stat that Luton had not ever lost their first 3 games at the start of a season. I thought, the history is being made here, and this is not going to go away.
At home, presumably.
At home, yeah, home games. And yeah, I started doing it because there was nothing going forward. We didn't have anything to really cheer. You know, I can't think of one now. There's none on the highlights for sure. It was that bad going forward. They were not battering us, but they were comfortable, and that was the worrying thing. There was no ideas.
Just literally no ideas. It didn't look like we knew or we had any answers. Like you said, they weren't battering us, but it didn't look like we looked lost. We almost kind of was just like, well, this is how it's going to go. And yeah, and that, you know, changes needed to be made, and thankfully they were, and they made a difference.
They did indeed. Yep, triple substitution right on the hour. I thought, is he going to leave it longer like he did against Millwall? But no, Marvellous was off on the hour, Liam Walsh was off on the hour, and whoever else went off was so ineffective I can't even remember who it was, also went off on the hour. No, I think Elijah went off slightly after that. Who was the third one who went off in amongst that lot?
Doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
No,
nothing was working. So
exactly. But the main point was the 2 midfielders got changed, and that was important because Tom Krauss came on, and within 2 minutes, Luton have won a corner in front of the Kenilworth end, and all of a sudden this German geezer's come in front of the Kenilworth end, and he's been the cheerleader. He's like got the Luton fans going, and the crowd just turned in an instant. You know, we were about to equalise, of course we are, but we hadn't at that point. But he just got the crowd going, and I'm like, this is a geezer who's just come from Germany. You know, not even technically, not even our player. He's only here on loan, and he's doing that. So fair play to him. And the 30 minutes that followed, he was absolutely brilliant. He is going to be a serious fans' favourite, let me tell you.
It's going to be another one, isn't it? It's going to be another case of like, obviously I don't think they play similarly, but it's going to be another Dewsbury Hall situation where you fall in love with a lone player and he'll be gone. He'll be gone in what, year's time or something?
He'll go until the end of the season. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, come on, Gary, get that deal sorted out before anyone else notices that he's a good lad. But James has actually spoken to Tom Krauss. We'll hear from him later in the podcast, but he is a top guy. But from that moment, James, it flipped.
Yeah, it did. He was a wonderful addition. His performance was fantastic. Just all the things that fans love to see, English fans, and I think he's got to grips with that quite quickly. Get stuck in, playing some decent balls, riling up the crowd, celebrating throw-ins, and it just felt a momentum shift. And let me tell you, if you liked what you saw from Tom Krauss, and you'll hear it in a bit, my first chat with him, you're going to love him even more. He came in and said, I don't speak very good English, and then he spoke absolutely fantastic English, and the stuff he said is going to make every fan fall in love with him.
We'll have to get him on here because we don't speak particularly good English either. Rue Walters was the other one who got substituted in amongst that triple substitution. Of course, the reason why I forgot that is because supposedly Victor Moses came on, but he didn't. Zach Nelson came on for him. Victor Moses came on later in the game, and yeah, so there was a slight formation change at that point. Nelson had gone to right wing back, but he didn't stay there for very long once Victor Moses came on, and it all worked out. Key incident then, 15 minutes from full time. Krauss comes over. I think it was from a set piece, actually, wasn't it? Krauss comes over. There's a little bit of to in and fro, and a little bit how Sheffield Wednesday conceded against QPR last week, actually, with a bit of a goalmouth scramble. McGuinness heads the ball towards goal on the sort of second kind of rebound, really. I'm in the Kenilworth end behind it. I'm pretty sure it hits the guy's shoulder. I've now seen it since. It does hit the guy's shoulder, but he does move towards the ball in an action like he's saving a shot, which is going into the goal. James and I have looked at this. We're not sure on the rule. We're not sure if the fact he moves towards it means that it's a handball. It's definitely hit the part of his shoulder where they're claiming that it's not handball these days. But either way, penalty's given. I mean, if it is the wrong decision, it doesn't surprise me because he didn't get anything right all game. And then the red card. The red card was obvious. It had to be a red card once he's given the penalty. Yeah. Off goes Deshaun Bernard, who'd been booked 5 minutes earlier for taking out Nelson on the break. Off he trudges. I say off he trudges. About 10 minutes later, he finally got his way to the tunnel. Morris has been hanging on and hanging on and hanging on whilst this is all going on. But credit to the captain. He stood up with balls and rolled it in the corner, sent the keeper the wrong way, and we're back in the game.
Yeah, no, look, obviously there's a bit of controversy with the penalty and that, but, you know, speaking as strictly a Luton fan, you kind of needed that. You know, momentum was just going that way. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it would have been different if we didn't get the penalty, but everything had, like you said, everything had changed. We kind of got that new lease of life when the substitutions were made and everything kind of started going our way a bit. Speaking from, let's say, you know, I'm just looking at it from an unbiased standpoint. Maybe you don't give the penalty, but I'm not complaining. I was just that, like, I think we all felt the same when as soon as, you know, we got it, I thought, okay, I think we're back in. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we might be back in. Then Morris scores it and you can see it, the momentum started going, everyone started fighting, and yeah, it was I don't want to say it, but I would have taken a draw. I would have happily taken a draw when he scored that.
Given how terrible the first 70 minutes were, I think we were all just delighted. But obviously, you've now got at least 15 minutes against 10. But we knew there was going to be shitloads of injury time because the time wasting had started in a major fashion once Bannon had scored. To be fair, it started before then. But there was one where Valerie thought he was injured. And then, funnily enough, when the physios came over, he soon trotted off. Come on, refs. Come on, football. Please get the physios on and stop this nonsense and let them play on around him. for a long time, I thought Elijah was taking that penalty, and I love Elijah. I really do. Mentioned it in the preview podcast when, funnily enough, we discussed who the penalty taker would be, and we've got the penalty, but Morris was on the pitch and we didn't get the answer to what we was looking for. Kind of glad he gave it to Carlton, because Carlton don't miss.
He doesn't. It was a great penalty. He sent him the wrong way. But, you know, on the penalty, just to come back to that, I've watched it multiple times now. Bearing in mind this is Saturday night, so we're only a couple of hours after the game. I've watched it multiple times, and we've looked at the laws, the IFAB laws, and it's very clear. There's a very clear diagram of where handball is. And for me, where it hits him is in the green zone, so not handball. And where the wording is around the rule, there's no wording about intent of moving towards it. Nothing that's specific to that. But then I wonder whether it's down to referee interpretation. On this case, he's done Luton a turn. He was terrible for the rest of the game, but legitimately, I think Sheffield Wednesday could feel hard done by. But I mean, ultimately, we don't care because it's gone our way. It's one of those: if it goes your way, happy. If you're not, you're furious. But I don't think he's got it right. I really don't. It's really hard on him, and it may be why he took so long to walk off the pitch. Even then, if you referee that hadn't lost the game by about the 20th minute, there are extra punishments you can do when he's not getting off the pitch like that. Instead, he went and talked to a bunch of Luton players for some reason. I've no idea
why was Kaminsky slowing him down. Come on, Kaminsky, pick him up, chuck him up the tunnel, and let's get on with the game. It's like, or even he's in the other half now. Just take the sodding penalty. If it goes in, it don't matter how long it takes him to get off, because it's going to be a celebration and everything else. Football has got to do more to speed the game up. I mean, I left the ground pretty much straight after it, and I didn't get out of the ground till 5:20. It is ridiculous how long football takes these days, but that's a different story.
Bearing in mind he's on the goal line, he only has to step off the pitch and walk around.
I can kind of understand why he didn't do that, because there was a crowd baying for blood at that point, and I wouldn't have really wanted him to do that. But he could certainly have gone in a direct fashion towards the tunnel rather than the loop that he went on, like I say, via Kaminsky and everything else. But yeah, thankfully he went off. I mean, Linus, you're right. I think we'd all have taken a point at that point, but Rob Edwards is different, and he didn't. 2 more substitutions, and these were 2 absolutely key substitutions. Joe Taylor came on for Elijah Adebayo, and Victor Moses finally did come on, even though we announced that he'd come on 20 minutes earlier. He came on, and he made a big, big difference. You can tell a guy who's a class above the level that he's playing at, and Victor Moses instantly looks like that.
Yeah. Who was it? Joe Willock's brother that plays for QPR.
Yeah, Chris Willock. Yeah.
I felt the same about him. Every time I've watched him play, and I just thought he shouldn't be playing this level. And I feel like we've only seen 15 minutes of Victor Moses, but I'm really impressed with what I've seen. I'm really happy with it, and I don't want to jinx it, but it might be another situation where we revived a almost forgotten career, and just hopefully he stays with us.
Definitely, yep. I mean, immediately balls were going in the box with quality. They needed defending. To be fair to Sheffield Wednesday defenders, they managed to get rid of most of them. But then eventually a ball came out to him sort of 2 minutes from the end from a corner. Alfie stays out wide. Moses assesses his options, sends Doughty down to the byline. Doughty puts a great cross in. Jay Beadle comes out and punches it to the edge of the box. Clicker chests it down, and he kind of like, just don't miss the target, Clicker. He didn't, but there was no way through. He weren't getting through them bodies. But thankfully, McGuinness has done some fancy thing right in front of the goalkeeper that's ricocheted it to Morris. Sheffield Wednesday fans are complaining that he's handballed it. He doesn't. I'm right in line with that. He controls it on his thigh, brings it down. Because the goalkeeper's out of the equation, there's a couple of defenders on the line, but Morris ain't missing from there. Sticks it in the top corner, and pandemonium. Our German friend is leading the celebrations in the corner, and all hell's breaking. It's absolutely one of those moments as a fan that you just love it.
Incredible. Obviously, I sit in the press box. The boys that sit in front of the press box are the fans. And the last time I experienced this was Watford and Sunderland in the Championship. They were banging on it so hard that all of my devices fell off. No problem with that whatsoever, boys. You break all my devices all you like. I love it. It just rattles the whole box like that. And just the roof came off, and it was an unbelievable moment. And then even when you look back and you see what McGuinness did, I mean, if there's a Pushkas award for assists, then that needs to go to him, because I have absolutely no idea how he's managed to cushion that on his thigh while at a 45-degree angle in the air and get it to Morris. Not that he knows it's going to Morris, I shouldn't wonder, but well, incredible. And then Morris can't miss. It's considering he's had to start the last two games, including this one, on the bench, and probably would have rightly been frustrated because he's a top pro and he wants to play, captain as well, to come on and get your first two of the season in that fashion, an 11-minute brace, win the game. Incredible moments.
Really was. Linus, when we had you in for the Millwall preview, we said about strikers coming off the bench, making an impact and making sure that they're not dropped in the next game. Carlton's done exactly that.
Oh, 100%. It's almost like I'm the charm, isn't I? It's almost like I'm the... Morris,
We're not arguing with it, by the way.
No.
You are, mate.
Morris, incredible. It was a good game from him. You know what, as well, let's not shade over how bad a good 3/4 of the game was. You know, it wasn't the greatest thing, but just all the series of events that happened after the subs came on, it kind of erased it. And I just hope this is like one of the last times we see a performance like that again. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was really good. I was really impressed with how everyone reacted. You know, German geezer looking really good. And, you know, I'm just really happy with Krob. I'm really happy with Moses. Joe Taylor didn't look too bad from what I saw. And when the ball come down the clicker and he chested it down and went to shoot, I was just like, just sneak it in, just sneak it through. And there were too many bodies anyway. And it was just, as soon as it hit Morris, I went, that's a goal. And then everyone in my house was like jumping about. So it was good. I think it lifted spirits. Game at Millwall was, you know, that was, you know, good to get the points on the board and that. And this is the game that I hope gives us momentum as well, because barring Amari Bell, I think a lot of our players are back now. And it should give us some momentum.
Yeah, indeed. And time stopped, didn't it? When it fell to Morris, time just everyone like holds their collective breath of like, are we going to score? And I mean, it felt like it took forever for him to shoot. And you're kind of waiting for someone to just come in and block the shot. He knows what he's doing. He's in complete control of the situation, and he sticks it in. And real captain's knock, actually, when he come on, to be fair to him.
But it's exactly what you need for a striker that's struggling for goals, isn't it? You usually talk about one going in off your arse, but what you want is a virtual tap-in from point-blank range, didn't you? And that's what he got. And I was so pleased for him as well, because when we saw it with Elijah last season, when he had that miss against Tottenham, he got taken out of the team, and when he came back in, scored his goals, he was off and running. And I think this is the case now. Now we just need to get Elijah scoring as well. But isn't it funny how the last time we played Sheffield Wednesday, Luton came from 2 goals behind. Elijah scored a late winner then. This time, it's Morris. I love a bit of deja vu.
Absolutely, don't we all? Yeah, for sure. 10 minutes put up of injury time. We knew we were getting it. We wouldn't have got it if it was 1-0 the other way, but we did get 10 minutes. We need to give Joe Taylor huge reps, because he closed down in that corner a couple of times as you know, Sheffield Wednesday looked to come out of it. He put a couple of tackles in, a couple of blocks in. We keep on saying that we want players coming off the bench doing everything they can for the team. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you know, we said last week, you know, people, like, again, these are top players. These players want to play. You know, these players are to an extent proven. You know, they've scored goals all over the place. Joe Taylor scored goals in all his loan spells. Morris and Elijah, what they did last season, incredible in the Premier League. And none of them want to be on the bench. And this is exactly the reaction we were asking for. And it's good. It's really good to see them fighting for the clubs and themselves in their own right, you know?
Without a doubt. I mean, you know, hasn't scored, but if you're not scoring, you can still impact the game in another way, and that's exactly what he did. He ran his socks off for that 10 minutes of injury time. You kind of thought when we went 2-1 up and you saw 10 minutes, don't up now sort of thing. Particularly, it worked the other way for them last week, didn't it? They went ahead in the 93rd minute and still managed to concede an equaliser. They were never scoring, really. They didn't even get much of a look in. We saw that 10 minutes out about as comfortably as we can do. Loved Moses and Morris in the corner as well. No one was getting the ball off either of them two without fouling them. Linesman woke up at the right time to give the fouls when they were committed as well, because he was asleep for most of the game, just like the referee was. Brilliant turnaround.
That's great centre forward play by Morris, and he did it last week to not much fanfare. All the dirty stuff and the hard stuff of winning tackles or earning fouls to sort of just ease the pressure a bit, and he did it there. That stuff that's almost as good as a goal for me sometimes.
Yeah, you got to manage the clock, and particularly when it's 10 minutes, and we did, and we saw it out pretty well. Really, we weren't interested in the third. Why would you be? We've turned it round. We've papered over some cracks. I think that's fair to say. But who cares? It's successive wins. Plenty of teams below us in the table now. 4 points off the playoffs. We're looking in the right direction. We will improve. Still got players there that haven't even played 90 minutes for Luton. There's a lot more to come. But it's enough good to have successive wins, isn't it? I keep on saying 2-win league this, and look what's happened, 23rd to 14th. You go up a hell of a lot of places in this league when you win 2 successive games.
Yeah, first time since December as well. I mean, the 9 months is a long time, even though there's a break for summer as well. It's such a long time to wait for that sort of feeling. But isn't it? It's a funny old game, isn't it? Because how many times last season we were talking about really great performances, got nothing. Now we're talking about 2 not very fluid, not very convincing performances, 6 points.
That's the weird thing. We were still better against QPR at home than we were in either of these 2 wins, and we won the game, and we lost the QPR game. Rob deserves an awful lot of credit. The substitutions that he made, I mean, I've seen people criticising him and saying that he's got no plan B, which is nonsense. I can guarantee we would not win that game today without Rob Edwards. His substitutions were all at the right time. They were progressive. They were forward thinking. Okay, the first 3 were forced because we were behind. But the other 2, like you say, some people would have just taken the 1-1. We ain't lost. We've been crap. Get out of here without losing. But not Rob. Took 2 defensive players off, brought 2 attacking players off. One of the attacking players is involved in the goal that wins the game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. I've seen some things floating about in some forums about, he didn't look right or this and that or something's happened. Look, a couple of times before, he's been blamed for taking too long to make subs or making the wrong subs at the wrong time and, things like that. But today, I think, when he took the midfielders off and, switched things around, I thought, not the wrong players to bring on. I'm not arguing, not mad about that. And when he actually brought on some attacking players, I thought, he really wants to go for this. Like he wants more. He really wants to go. That's what we like to see. That's the response we want. We don't want, go 1-1 and then, bring on centre back or something. We don't want that. What I mean? So it was good. It was really good to see some an intentional substitution like that. So he deserves a pat on the back.
Shades of that Norwich game. Albeit it was the opposition that had the man sent off rather than ourselves, but he still went and won the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I take what you mean about Rob's sort of lap of honour seemed a bit quicker than usual, and he didn't really want to take the plaudits. And
well, let's put it this way: if you matched it up with their number 5, Rob's back home in wherever it is that he lives before the number 5's got off the pitch. That's how quickly he went round. But we'll hear from him in a second, but you're about to explain exactly why.
Yeah, he does say, we did speak to him in the press conference, and he did explain that he just doesn't feel that he wants to go overboard at the moment. I mean, he did a fist pump at Millwall last week, but you go away, and it was a decent result in terms of they held on to that lead for 80 minutes or so, and I think that was worthy of a fist pump. Here, they really didn't play well. We've talked about it. 77 minutes of absolute dross, and then it changed. So I think it's just that. I wouldn't read too much into it. If it keeps going like this, I think you'll be back to the same old fist bumps and stuff like that. But I think it's a positive step in the right direction.
Well, he probably saved himself a yellow card by not getting up off the dugout anyway, because Paul Trollope, wasn't it, who got booked, or Kevin Pilkington? I couldn't really work out which way he aimed the yellow card at, but he aimed it at someone on the bench got booked after Chong was wiped out right in front of him, wasn't he? And nothing was doing, and it was actually looked a nasty tackle as well. The yellow card came in someone's direction.
I thought it was Kevin Pilkington, but either way, yeah. I mean, Edwards did also say about that, so he didn't want to get himself into too much trouble, but he just said he just sort of wanted to sit down and take a step back from all that, because he thought if he got involved, he'd have got sent off. Just fair enough.
And you got to think about, what we said earlier. It's it's all good to be like, okay, we've won 2 on the bounce, we've got 6 points, but we have played badly. You know what I mean? We've played very badly. Again, I don't want to put a damper on everything, but you kind of understand where he's coming from because, yeah, you can fist bump and say, yeah, the points are good, but what happens when you go against Sheffield United? What happens when you go against Norwich? What happens when you go against the better teams in the league? And we won't get, well, I don't think we'll get away with performances like that against them. And it's, yeah, so I wouldn't read anything too much into it. I think, yeah, it's great we've got 6 points. It's great we've got 2 on the bounce. It's great we're up in 14th. However, there's some work that needs to be done. There is some work that needs to be done, whether it's the tactics, whether it's the players, whether it's whatever's going on. There is some work that needs to be done. He knows it better than we do. He knows that.
For me, I think it's he obviously has the style he wants to play. We've talked about that. That's not going to change, however much you cheer long balls or boo, whatever that's going to be. But I think it's more the personnel to do it now. He's not really had those balls to play with. So not cojones balls, but I mean like snooker balls.
No pun intended. Yeah,
he's not really had those options to play with, and now he has. Now he's got to find how they work together. So we're talking about a really impressive cameo from Moses and Krauss.
And Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson was very good, actually. And how does that fit together? Because remember when we were hoping for the Holy Trinity last season of Barkley, Lukonga and Nakamba, and it never happened because of injuries. And he was talking about maybe there's a double pivot situation with Lukonga and Nakamba. Does that come into play? And then maybe that means you go for a 4 at the back or something like that? Bearing in mind my maths wasn't great in the last episode, but
it was ironic though that we finished with more players than what they did after that. Yeah, if you missed the preview episode, James was saying that somewhat that Rue Waters was going to come back into the side. So I said, "Oh yeah, who does he come in for?" And he didn't. He said, "No, he just comes in." So he was going to play 12 players instead of 11.
It's all right. If his maths is bad, my memory was really bad. I got names wrong. I got named wrong today. I said Crub instead of Krauss, but yeah, no, I'm just as bad as him.
That's just the weird German symbol, isn't it? But
yeah,
his name is Krauss. Yeah,
I still ain't worked out how to do that yet. I'm going to have to do that because this guy is going to be a serious fans' favourite. Let's hear from Rob. James caught up with him after the game.
Yeah, it's typical game, isn't it? You know, any level of football, it was really tough. I thought the best section of the game we had was probably the last 15 minutes of the first half, where I thought then we got the pressing intensity right. I thought we were pushing, we had set pieces, and we had a couple of good moves that we nearly got in with bits, but it was difficult to get behind them. And yeah, you know, it was yeah, you're right. It was tough, really tough. Didn't start with the intensity that we wanted, and when we don't have that, then it's obviously you know, it probably gives them a lift. Our crowd then thinking, come on, and you know, you're right. The first 20 minutes was just sort of difficult, and we didn't have the intensity in the press that I really wanted. The one chance Thomas made a really good save, so we didn't quite close and get the covering distances right. Once we sorted those bits, we were okay. We were in the game, but nothing, you know, more than that. We shot ourselves in the foot with the goal that we conceded, and then it's hard, you know, because then it's something that's gone against us again, and you know, we need to try and wrestle back some momentum. And there's no doubt then, you know, we were pushing, we were trying, forced away somehow. I mean, the header was going in from Maka before he stuck his arm out, and obviously it's hit there, hasn't it? So before that, it was going in anyway. So that's a goal. Got back in the game, and then along with that and the red card and everything else, I thought the impact that the subs made was great, and that's what we want. We've got a squad for a reason. It's difficult to leave certain people out, but then, you know, when you get reactions like that, it's amazing. I know there's areas that we could be better in. Sometimes I like to give the credit to the opposition as well. They're very well organised. Danny's a very good coach. They're you know, they press well at the right times. They get good numbers on the last line, so it's hard to get behind. It was difficult for us. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. I know that it wasn't far from a perfect performance. The last two haven't been, but we won. And really, we needed that at the moment, at this stage, just to try and build some momentum and belief and confidence again, because, you know, it's been a tough period. We've obviously ticked off a few boxes now the last few weeks. You know, we've had a couple of clean sheets. We've won away from home. Now we've won at home. We've come from behind. So there's nothing more now that I suppose we need to, any more challenges we need to do. We're off and running now. The belief needs to start to come back, and hopefully, yeah, it kickstarts us onto a nice run. But we know every game's going to be difficult, and they don't get any easier at all. So if we don't play with the intensity that we finish with, or that we had that last part of the first half, that 15, 20 minutes, then we're going to make it difficult for ourselves, and finding that from the start. But we're human beings, and it's we can't be perfect all the time, and just got to try and find that right recipe at the moment, especially for the start of the game. I don't want to be over celebrating stuff at the moment. We won a couple of games, great, but we got a lot more to do. There's more work to be done. I want everyone on side. I want everyone going the right way, but yeah, work to be done.
Yep, that was the thoughts of the boss, Rob Edwards. As we said before, we heard from him, masterminded the turnaround victory. Tom Krauss, half an hour cameo, but my word, there's promise in there, isn't there? I mean, comfortable on the ball. You better believe he's comfortable on the ball. Likes to tackle. You seem like he likes to tackle. Won the ball every single time he got it. There was one time, wasn't there, where we thought we played him into trouble, but no, he just slid in, nudged the ball to Reece Burke, and away we go again. Likes a cheerleader. Very good at cheerleader, actually. Very good cheerleader indeed. And this is all having no pre-season with us and just returning from injury. I mean, if that's what he's doing in a half an hour cameo, what's he going to do when he's fully fit?
Yeah, he's a really exciting prospect. We were looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's not going to be playing at every single level of German international football up to the 21s without being a very good, useful operator. And what we saw there was everything that we were hoping for. Very tidy, but positive and progressive of what he was doing. And then the extra stuff, which is, some footballers are just footballers, but he gets it. He gets fandom, and he understands what it is. And when we spoke to him, one of the things he's talking about is that it's what he plays football for. It's the fans, because as we know, without them, it's nothing really.
Yeah. Did you like what you saw?
Yeah, like you took words out of my mouth. Very, very progressive player, very professional, and like you said, like again, what I was surprised with, I knew the level he played at. I knew the level of a player we were going to be getting for the season, but I didn't expect, the varying up the crowd and getting into the camaraderie of like the actual football and things like that, and actually leading celebrations. I thought he'd be a bit more reserved, but yeah, no, I'm really, really, really happy with what I'm seeing. And just like, all the other players, Victor Moses and all the other players we're keeping and trusting, I just hope we see more of it. I hope it doesn't fizzle out here. I hope this isn't the best.
Yeah, for sure. When he started cheerleading in the corner, absolutely fantastic. I thought, I like this guy. Confidence. You can tell he's a class above the championship. I'm like, Jesus, his career so far has been in the Bundesliga. It's not a bad division, as Dynamo Zagreb found out last week in Europe when they shipped 9 to Bayern Munich. Let's hear from him. James has teased us with this interview throughout the podcast. He caught up with him after the game, and there's only one man that he was ever going to catch up with. Here is what Krauss had to say.
Well, it was crazy today. It was 30 minutes, but I'm really tired now. It was a tough week for me. I was 4 weeks out of training. It was my first week with the team. And yeah, now I'm really happy to win this game after a not so good game. But yeah, we can say after that, a win is a win. And we have more 3 points. And yeah, I'm now really happy. I say to Rob, let me play. And was really great for me to win this game and to see the fans, to celebrate with the fans. I like that. I had this in Schalke in Nürnberg. Also, I love that, to celebrate with the fans, to see the fans after the game when they are happy. And yeah, I'm really happy. And now let's focus on the next game on Friday. And but it's really important to get these 3 points today. A win is a win today, and I think that's the best sentences. Today I had goosebumps after the game. That's not so normal. And yeah, it was a tough week for me, but a really good week with a win. I think I tell my dad in Germany, it was a great feeling today, and I'm really happy, and that's the important thing. Yeah, I do everything for the fans, for the club, to win games, and it's a really good feeling after that today, and yeah, it's getting better and better now. That's the best feeling in football, when you win games, and that's really nice. And yeah, I can say I'm really happy today, and now it's getting better and better for my feet, for my ankle. It was also a tough 4 weeks for me. You stay in the hotel, you're alone. It's not so nice, but yeah, my girlfriend comes in the next 2 or 3 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks. I don't know when, but she comes, and now I'm on the pitch. So yeah, it's getting better and better. The team's really good. They help me a lot. They know I don't know everything about every sentences in English, but they help me a lot, and I'm really happy to be here, to be here on this crazy club, and I'm really happy.
Those were the highlights of the interview that James did with Tom Krauss. If you want more quotes, head to the Lutonian website. Jimbo's going to type it all up in full, and more, please, Mr. Krauss, that's for sure. Just finish by touching on Victor Moses. 15-minute cameo, massive impact. He's only going to get better because we know the class he's got, because he's won literally everything there is to win in the game. He could be a real difference maker in terms of getting out of this division or staying in this division.
Yeah, don't want to put any pressure on him, but I'm sure he's used to that, playing at a level he's played at. But yeah, no, he looked really good. It was one of those we touched on last week. He was going to come on and he was going to show a lot of class and a lot of flair and a lot of fight, or it was going to be, we've got this big player, big name, but we can see he's here for the paycheck. We haven't really had anyone like that, but in my head, that's what I thought. I thought it'd be that, but I'm really impressed with what I saw for the 15 minutes. It was quality. It was a lot of quality on the ball, a lot of thought out stuff. It weren't just, winger ball in there. It was all quality top class stuff, and you could see the class. And I'm happy he's here, and just like Krauss, I just hope that I hope we get that for the rest of the season. I hope he stays injury free and he gets more minutes as well, because I'd like to see him start a game. I'd like to see what he looks like over 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, for me, it was the directness. It's just outstanding. It's just absolutely no other thought than to get to the byline.
You are such a sucker for a fast player going past the defender, aren't you?
Oh, it's just one of the greatest sights to see. And when you've had pep ball, which is all this tiki-taka stuff that's in front of defences and ponderous sometimes, it's so refreshing, old-fashioned football, just to get a winger that runs at the defender, commits them, and gets the byline, because so often they cut inside and they go back, and even then, if you cut inside, if you've got some space, why not try and whip a cross in? But they don't do it, and just to see him do that, the strikers are going to thrive off that so much in this football team, and it's fantastic to have him here. And yeah, I'm sure he's had a fair few bigger paychecks than he's got at Luton, so I think he's definitely here for the football.
Yeah, it still blows my mind that we signed him and kept it quiet. He was training at the club in advance of the signing. In advance of, and no one leaked it.
Over the international break there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and of course he's a free transfer, so there's not all sorts of different agents involved. But even so, this guy, he's won everything there is to win. Someone you'd have thought would have picked up on it, but thankfully they haven't, and he is definitely going to be a major enhancement down that right-hand side. And, well, he's got Chios number 7, hasn't he? And based on that 15 minutes, the crosses he's putting in are, more dangerous, and if he's got a goal on the end of it, so much the better, that is for sure. He's only going to get better after that 15 minutes as well. Once again, another geezer who hasn't had a pre-season can only get better. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. But before we go, Smug James is about to come into fruition, because I don't know how he got Luton to win 2-1, right? There is the most undeserved correct score of all time, actually, based on the football. But he did get Luton to win 2-1. He has overtaken me. He's 3-2 ahead now. I did get a point because I said 3-0 to Luton. Thankfully, there was someone else out there who got 2-1 as well. So you're sharing the glory.
That's okay. I can share the glory for now. What I told you is that graphic that I put on the last podcast about the head-to-head between me and you weren't going to stay at 1-0 for long. And it came right straight away. So I'm very delighted at getting that. It makes it all the more sweeter to have to sit through that first 76 minutes and then get the ending to this game, and then to realise about an hour later that I'd got the correct score. Absolutely. What a Saturday.
I was absolutely screaming at Morris to go and score a third. Go and get a third. Get away from this correct score. I wouldn't have had it right. I said 3-0. But no, kudos to James, and also kudos to Chris McKnight, 7164, who also said 2-1. There were loads and loads of people that predicted a Luton win for this game. I'll be here until the trip to Plymouth if I read them all out. You know who you are. If you predicted a Luton win, well done. Didn't quite get the correct score, but we'll give you a point for that, and we'll get some sort of leaderboard up as soon as we get a chance. It's all been a bit manic at the minute, hasn't it? But we will do that. Just before we go, Linus, what's next, mate? When might we see you in the ring next? If I can get the words out.
I'd like to get out in December. It's a bit soon, I know, but I'd like to get out in December, defend my title, and then or see what options are there, see if there's any other titles around. But I think realistically it'll be probably early New Year.
Get yourself on that Fury Usyk undercard. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Get myself in Saudi Arabia. That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, we wish you all the very, very best when it comes to defending this lovely belt that's in front of us, and hopefully pushing on and getting closer and closer to that British title, which we know that you can get your hands on hopefully next year.
Yeah, hopefully, man. I just keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm just happy. Like, fight's done now, won it, made history, made the town happy. I think everyone. It was a great night. But I'm just happy I can now, have some rest and actually get to the games without it being an issue now.
It was a great finish to get him out there in the final round when, you knocked him down, in the third, didn't you? And then
something like that.
That left hook stunned him, and then it must have done the right damage because he got up again, but didn't last very much. Yeah, didn't last longer.
Yeah, no. So I got told. I sat down in my corner in the ninth round. Sorry, and my corner was talking to me. It's just like, listen, I think you virtually won 9 or 8 rounds of this, so you're quite safe. But just don't do nothing stupid. Don't go out there. Don't put your hands down. Don't do nothing stupid. Just do what you normally do. Just box how you normally box, and you've won this fight. And in my head, I thought, I'm gonna go knock him out. I know you just told me to be cautious in that, but I want to make a statement. Winning is good, but you can win in a certain way. And I thought, you know what? This is the first time I won't listen to my coach. I'm gonna go knock his head off. And that was just that last round. I think that last round lasted maybe 20-30 seconds or something. I just went out there. And you know what? Fair play to me, because it was, he came to win, and he took everything. He took everything I had. He crumbled. He got
mostly on his face, and I saw the pictures afterwards, because he got pretty marked up and swollen.
Yeah, no, he was very marked up. My hands were swollen the next day. but I could just about drive. It was a tough fight, but
You went and played football the next day, didn't you?
Not with my hands. Not with my hands. I did play football. I never sleep on a night of a fight. So I did. She was laying there till like 5 a.m. I still had some energy by the time I actually got to sleep, and then woke up. And I text my manager. I said, mate, can I play in the morning? He's like, you joking? I went, yeah, can I play in the morning? Is that right? He goes, yeah, of course. Showed up. Yeah, everyone was like, yeah, he is. Yeah, team sheet. I scored like 10 minutes in. So it was a great Sunday. We put with a 4-1 lead. We ended up drawing 4-4. But and the worst thing about it was, this is the worst thing about it. I got dug out at the end of it for it. So when we were 4-1 up, my strike partner teed me up for a tap-in. Keeper had gone out to him, he teed me up. And I was like, yeah, I've got this. I go to tap it, and I just leant back a little bit, and it just went straight over. And I was like, literally said to myself, that's going to come back. That's going to come back to haunt me, innit? And game finished 4-4.
And now you said it on the podcast. You could have got away with that.
Nah, the boys would have let. They would have reminded. I can't say I scored, and they'd be like, no, but he also missed a chance. But no, it was all in all, QP. We beat Millwall. I became an two-time English champion. Scored a goal the next day. Weekend dreams are made of, if I'm honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Luton are so proud of you, mate. Keep doing us proud.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on again, by the way.
Thank you for coming on. More than welcome. And thank you for bringing the belt. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks to everyone who's watched or listened to this episode. Keep your comments coming. We do read them all. We love all of them, and we do take notice of them. And really, really do appreciate it. We are going to head down to the training ground this week and get our first sort of inside view from inside the camp. So that's going to come out before the Plymouth game. And we've got some massive, massive news to release on Monday. I really, really can't wait to release that. So keep an eye on all of our socials for that. We're really, really buoyant about that. And of course, the Plymouth preview will come out later in the week as well. Thanks very much to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on set. Until next time, which will be that inside info down in the camp from the training ground, from James, Linus and myself, come on you Hatters!
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.